Hi, my name is Tara Kachaturoff, and I'm the host of Michigan Entrepreneur, where we feature businesses from startup to stellar. Today, I have as my special guest, Wendy Caverly, Professional Connections Coach at Crusaders Networking. Welcome to the interview.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. It really is.
Well, I'm so happy to have you here today because we're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is networking. And you're the expert in this area, so we're really lucky to have you. And before we get started on that, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So, I actually don't like the word networking. Networking is such a restrictive word for the skill set that it represents. It's a powerful skill. What it is it's really about creating connection. And connection is where there's great opportunities for everybody. My own personal background varies widely. Since I went to college for political science, so I've worked political campaigns, and I've done direct sales, and I've done utilities work, and I've worked at insurance companies, at front desks of athletic clubs, and most recently over the last decade, I have been focused exclusively on networking. And what I realized is everything that I've done in my life, there is a component of connecting. The value of being able to connect quickly with other people to get to the results that we're seeking, either the result that they need as a client or a customer, or the result that I need as a business owner. And actually, though, I'm not sure if you're aware, but the world turned upside down a couple of years ago. It was minor, but we all felt it, right? And being pushed into an online environment really expanded my professional horizons. And one of the things that I learned very quickly from engaging with other people is what I do, what I coach is not default. People do not default to the connection. They tend to are looking for the opportunity that best suits them, or the I don't want to call it the churn and burn, because that's too strong of a word, but the creating connection without purpose, because it might be something of value in the future, is not default. It's not sales, it's not marketing, it's connecting. And that was my epiphany moment. That was my aha moment, that what I teach has brought tremendous value to my life and to those that I'm connected to. I'm here today by referral. And
you are.
I am. I'm here today by referral. And it's a necessary skill for long-term success. And that's how I arrived at being here today, being who I am today.
Yeah. And it's really funny because I was talking to a colleague of yours, and she brought you up as like, she'd be a great guest, somebody to interview. And then I found your information, and we connected, and we ended up talking at least an hour on the phone.
Yes.
Or on Zoom. And here we are now, because this is such a great topic. And I was like, oh, for sure, I definitely want to talk to her because it's a fun topic. It's important. It's what we should naturally do as humans. But yeah, I'm so excited to be able to talk to you about that. Yes. And I want to just circle around, like with your business that you do, which is focused, Crusaders Networking. Yes. What are you doing specifically in your business? Like, who are you serving, and what kinds of services are you offering to people?
Well, first, I have this very unique view of the skill of networking. It's a high strategic view. When people are networking, they're usually attempting to accomplish a multitude of goals, but in general, 4 of them. Creating or maintaining a relationship, finding a new opportunity, creating an action plan so they can measure their success and not quit. A lot of people get frustrated and quit quickly, or those strategic alliances that help you find bigger rooms, mentorships, collaborations. Each one of those is a goal that people are seeking when they're networking. But each one of those has a little different skill to help you find that goal quickly. So I've defined that by the networking landscapes. It's farming and foraging and hunting and fishing. And the reason why I chose that is they are, doesn't matter who you are in the world or what your background is, you have a basic understanding of what those skill sets are. Like, what you have to do to farm, what you have to do to forage, what you have to do to fish, what you have to do to hunt. And so what I coach is really for any professional, but the majority of my client base are professionals who've been in business 2 to 5 years, and they've kind of hit this plateau where they want to grow, but they're spending a lot of time maintaining. How do you get over that hump? I also work with a lot of first-time professionals, like companies will bring me in for professional development. They want to help their new employees be successful, which frankly is a win-win situation for the company, right? You have an employee that's actually going to be successful at the job you've hired them for, and the employee realizes that you sincerely care about them and want them to be successful. And I do a lot of work with some young millennials that these soft skills are not default. Knowing how to have a pleasant conversation with someone is not the same thing as a pleasant conversation with purpose. The skills that you use as a child to make friends are not the skills that you need to grow your business. They're similar, but there's small tweaks to that. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Some of the things that you're doing in your business, and you're offering coaching, and you have courses or things like that as well.
Yes, I do private coaching, which is nice because it's extremely customizable to their needs. But I do some group programs, some basic skills level programs. Let's talk about it. Let's get you those base level skills. How to leverage opportunities at random networking events, how to leverage opportunities at repetitive things such as referral groups or associations or community organizations, what those skills are that you need to level up to another group. And that's actually a brief program. It's 3 months, and I like the group setting that I've created with that because it's experiential. It's not sit and listen and learn. It's practice, find your style. That's a big thing. I don't want my clients to be me. I want them to be them. There's so many opportunities to customize the skill to work best for you. So you don't have to change who you are to be good at it. Find your style, find your skill. Don't copy somebody else's. And you get to build an accidental new network because you're practicing with a room full of people who are also there for the same purpose. So
yeah, and it's funny that you say the thing about like being who you are and your own authentic self, adding that word authentic. But it's interesting because you may have noticed this as well in the online world, that you see different entrepreneurs picking up the exact wording, mannerisms of other like well-known internet people on the internet. They're literally the laughs. There's a laugh of a very well-known internet person. I will not share his name because everybody would know him. Many other men have picked up his mannerisms and his exact laugh, and have even used his same stories, his same startup story, which is not theirs. I know where it came from because I knew him before he became multi-7-figure person. I knew him way back in the day, like 20 years ago. So it was interesting to see people copying that, thinking that will lead to the they're not themselves.
Yes.
It's been interesting to watch it. I've seen women do that, of very well-known women. It's you don't realize what people are doing, but they're not really themselves. It's this other person that I know the brand.
Right.
Like I can guess the brand because I know that other person. I know their laugh. I know their words. I know their stories. Like I actually know who they're emulating. Yeah. That's how on target it is.
See, where every person's unique.
Right.
And it's that uniqueness that actually shines. Right. So yeah, I don't want you changing. I want you agile.
And I know you do the corporate programs as well. Mm-hmm. That's another area. But when you're working in those types of trainings, how do you get somebody to unearth that real self? Because a lot of times they don't know who they are because they've played a different role so long that isn't themselves, and it's all edited, and it's like every other person in all their other groups. How do you get that to come out of them and open back up to who they are?
Honestly, it starts with an assessment. I have an assessment.
You have an assessment.
Yes, I have an assessment that shows what their instinctual networking style is, which landscape they are most comfortable in, which landscapes they might shy away from. And I feel a little bit like I'm looking into a crystal ball, because it's a beautiful snapshot of who they are, and if I know their profession, it's oftentimes quite revealing, and so I can see that, which means I can help kind of go, you know what, are you feeling frustrated? Try it this way, because of where they land in their landscapes. We usually start with what they're most comfortable with. Let's get you really good at that. So for instance, somebody who is really good at being what a farmer is, and a farmer in my definition is the relationship builder and maintainer. That can be very time consuming, and it doesn't leave you any time to actually keep growing. So let's talk about the skills that will give you the opportunity to have that light, consistent layers that create depth without it being all you do every single day. You good? You good? You good? You good?
Yeah, I've seen that behavior in people. They never do anything with it. They know everybody. They start groups. They're always at every group, but nothing's ever happened. So that's a farmer. That's interesting.
That's a farmer, and that's a default farmer. And so we could talk about the skills that will give them the same effect without it being time. Networking is not time consuming. It should not be. I'm not advocating for anybody to add more hours to their day or more events to their calendar. I'm advocating for them to be more productive with the things that they are already doing, which is why, for me, networking is connecting, and connecting is something that I can do every day. It is not something that I have to wait for a mixer for, or a conference for, or a referral group for. It is something that I can do with somebody every time I interact with them. It's really intentional layers, raised awareness, and finding how you can be of value to somebody while also servicing somebody else. It's actually a really unique. My little brain is buzzing right now because my brain went up. So it's a really unique perspective, which is why I love the word agile. I want people to be able to see where they are, see where the other person is, and adjust, so they are still moving towards their goal without running into brick walls, frustration, or telling, no, you're wrong. No, you're not networking, I'm networking. No, you're both networking, but what's the goal? Different skills.
It's interesting. A lot of people do look at networking as only if I'm going to that conference. I just saw it in the last week saying, well, I need to network. I'm going to have to go to a conference this year.
Yeah.
I talk to people every day. It's
talk
just,
to people every day.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey, since we're kind of we covered like the farmer profile.
Yes.
What about let's talk about those other profiles for a little bit. Like,
yes.
What's the forager? So if you're foraging, you're kind of searching for something.
Yes.
Is that networking with more of a goal, or connecting with a goal, or what is foraging?
Foraging, I tend to attribute to the random events. So you don't already know who's going to be there, or what professions are in the room. It's about learning how to spot opportunities that you're surrounded by on a daily basis, and also being just as excited by connecting with someone for coffee as connecting with someone for a sales call. It's also about having a plan or a goal. So a great example is that random networking event that you're going to, the after hours. Why are you going? What's your goal? How are you going to start that conversation? What are you going to listen for? Because at the end of the day, you're not there to make a sale. You're there to make a connection, and hopefully that connection will turn into another conversation, which will turn into another conversation. So what skills are most effective for getting to that next conversation with someone who doesn't know you from Adam? And I'm a big fan of first, and it's also a lot of mindset, because the foraging environment is a very external, right? It's random, it's social with a purpose. That's a big pet peeve of mine. It's not social, it's social with a purpose.
So I talk to strangers all the time. That's just who I am. So if I'm in line, I'm always talking to somebody, and we're exchanging a card, or, so I'll talk business, waiting at a restaurant in a long line, it's like an hour wait.
Yes.
Back in the day. Is that foraging or not really? Because I don't have a purpose. It's just like random talking that turns into something deeper, and then we start connecting, and it's like, oh, I know that person, or that kind of thing. What is that?
Believe it or not, it's actually two different landscapes. It can probably start out as a fishing landscape, which is connecting with a purpose.
Okay.
And the purpose could be to pass the time.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You may not be connecting with them because you're hoping to get to another conversation or get to a
I'm
sale.
just like, I'm hungry. I just want to like do something in the meantime because I'm going crazy.
Right. So you're connecting, the purpose is passing the time.
Yeah.
But when you start going into the conversation and you've reached the point where you're offering business cards, you've actually flipped how you're thinking about this person, how you're viewing the next steps to the foraging landscape. Okay, now I'm not just passing the time. This is potentially somebody I need to have another conversation with. How do I talk to them to make it worth their while to say yes to another conversation with me? Not just part ways because, airplane buddies, right? Yeah.
I guess people don't actually, I'm not even sure what they do now because I haven't been in a long line for a restaurant in a long time.
Right.
Most people have their phones out and they're not talking to anybody.
Right.
See, I don't do that.
See, I don't either.
I don't
At
do the
coffee
phone
shops,
thing. I don't want to look at a phone.
I do randomly insert myself into conversations. So
I
if you ever do that
too.
too, I'm sorry.
I do that. Like I hear over.
Yes.
I overheard some. I was at a park the other day, Cranbrook, and I was trying to take some photos. I go there a lot, and I take the same photo all the time of the pretty gardens. And I was in the way, and I kind of moved myself out of the way because I said, "Oh, let me get out of your way." Started talking to this lady, only to find out that she is best friends with my friend who was with me.
Oh.
And then her father came there and her husband, and they were traveling, but everybody knows everybody who even knew. And now I have an opportunity possibly with her husband for some work. And doesn't even live here, but it was just like a conversation, and we have a business meeting set up for next week. Who knew?
Who knew?
This is a random thing at Cranbrook.
Who knew? Because you were open to it.
I love to talk to
questions.
strangers, and we had so many things in common.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And
I
I'm
was like,
sure there was part of your brain that immediately started thinking, well, who do I know that this person needs to know?
She was the one that I was saying when she said, "What do you do for?" Because I had something that said coach on it, and so she said, "My husband needs a new coach. He's looking for a new coach." Like, it's just like, oh my gosh,
raised awareness.
She was the one that kept talking about business, and I was like, "This is amazing." And she had to go get her husband, and then her father was there, and then he sent me a book the other day.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it was just like what, and he is best friend. He is best friends with my friend who was with me. Best friends. They were literally at their family's house the night before.
Yeah.
It was like, this is completely random, and they were traveling from out of state. None of them live here anymore. They just happened to be at the park visiting that day.
I love that because it feels like random luck, but it's actually strategy and skill. You took advantage of an opportunity that presented itself where most people would have said, "I'm not working, it's my day off, have a nice day, I'm going to walk over here because some stranger's talking to me." Where you just kind of went, okay, let's see where this goes.
It was great, and it was the best conversation. So it was just so much fun, and it wasn't all about business, but it was like, and I left a half hour late. We were supposed to be at the park a half hour earlier.
Okay.
So we would have missed them if I had left on time. So everything kind of pushed it. It was like, I have never had an experience like this in my life.
I love that. Isn't it fun?
And it was the wife, like, leading the way. My husband, he's got to get a new coach. It's like, I can't, I've never seen a woman like advocate so much for her husband to have a new coach.
Nice.
So it was great.
I love that stuff. Really, I do.
So, talking about things and changes, what has been the most dramatic change? I mean, except that we're, on LinkedIn or on Zoom so much, but what's been the biggest change that you've seen in networking, notwithstanding the Zoom thing, in the past, let's just say 5-6 years?
So people have moved away from it when they shouldn't have, because when things are good, when the economy is good, the stock market's good, customers are plenty, sales are easy, people let it slide. But networking is not about being busy now. It's about being busy later. It's future-proofing your business. And so what I've noticed over the last few years is people actively not shied away from it, like, no, I don't want to network, but I don't have time. I'd rather go knock on 10 doors than stand in a room for an hour. I don't see the benefits because I'm super busy right now. Why would I want to spend the time networking? But as I mentioned, it's future proofing your business. It's seed planting for the future. It's for later, not now. It's also creating resources that make you more valuable to your current clients, because now you're not just providing a service, you also provide solutions. But good economies shied away from that. People shy away from that. And it's not an investment of time that they want to make. It's not an investment of money you want to make. But as I mentioned, you don't have to be busy to be productive. It's consistency. 2020, we saw this wonderful resurgence of we're just thinking about you emails. Hope you're doing okay. You were a client of ours 1 to 5 years ago. We haven't spoken since. But we're here for you. We're here for you. Do you need us? Mm-hmm. And because, door knocking went away. Expos went away. Golf outings went away. All of those easy, low-hanging fruit sales opportunities went away. So that's what I saw. And now I feel like in the last 2 years, I've seen a little bit of a confusion on, I'm not sure what to do, because, okay, well, now we're going back to it, but I don't know what to do, but I have this going on over here. So I would like to help clarify the definition of what is networking. It is not selling. Selling is exchanging money for goods or services. That's the end result. It's not marketing. Marketing is advertising and promoting an item for goods or service to sell. Networking is connecting. And I'm actually quoting the dictionary. Networking is connecting. It is the free exchange of information for social or professional purposes. And people don't recognize that is a separate skill that requires a little bit of attention to perfect. So it will make your other skills more effective. No one likes that person that comes right in hard and heavy with the sales pitch. You don't even know me. Networking is how you get to know them. That's the biggest thing I've seen. They shied away. They don't know what to do now. And some bad habits are actually personal habits are moving into the professional world. I call it digital door knocking. When you get those direct DM messages on social media, and ghosting is becoming a professional thing too. And it's just takes 2 extra steps to save your reputation. Just 2.
I agree everything with what you said. What you said is absolutely brilliant and very on point.
Thank you.
The behaviors are very odd right now, and people they don't really know how to act, and they're also not very comfortable around people anymore.
Yeah.
The eye contact is kind of a little off.
Mm-hmm.
The conversations, things are really stilted.
Yeah.
People are afraid of people. I see a lot of fear about being around people in a physical sense, which is really, it's not the way, you got to get over that.
Yeah. Or the desire to be around people, but you're afraid to be around people.
Right. That huge conflict it's taken a lot of people out of the social networking situations. And also that ghosting thing.
Yes.
It is so prominent. I've had it happen to me with some companies that we were having a conversation. A friend of mine at a C-level interview situation, they met in person. They had lots of interchanges.
Right.
Ghosted. This is for a major, major high-level position in a company. They ghosted him. Then they came out of the network like 30 days later. I got to talk to you tomorrow. Just 15 minutes of your time. Ghosted again. The behavior is unbelievable.
Yes.
The rudeness out there.
Yes.
And I see a lot of people because I work some in the career area, companies ghosting people.
Yes.
People who are hired ghosting their employers. They don't even show up.
Yes.
Or they don't even show up after they've taken the
night before. Not going to be there.
Yeah, I'm not coming, but thanks for the hiring bonus. But yeah, I mean, it just interesting things happening in behavior towards others. The opportunities for you at your company, you must just be magnanimous and growing by the day, because the opportunities for you.
Yes.
Because there's been some huge, like you said, been some steps back. And
Yes.
The ghosting piece, though, is the hardest thing for me to understand.
That is a program that I actually do. how to deal with digital door knockers and professional ghosting, why it's a no-no, are a couple
I'm
programs
not sure
I have.
people realize who we're all connected to.
Yeah,
I don't think they get it.
so little to protect your reputation.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I know I've done it, so I know you have too, where someone's like, oh yeah, I'm working with so-and-so. Do you know them? Yeah, I know them. It kind of tells you everything you need to know.
And you're like,
yeah.
I guess I'm sorry about that.
Oh yeah, hope it goes better. Hope it goes better. Yeah. So.
I've had people say that to me about people like,
Yeah. I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, we all drop the ball.
Right.
And we all get busy, but owning up to that does a lot to repair any unintentional reputation harm that was caused by it. So yeah.
So turning it on to some, let's talk a little bit more about. Let's talk about one or two blunders that people do in networking situations. I know you've been away from, not as many of the in-person things, but let's talk some. Let's talk maybe about some. If you're doing the Zoom networking thing, you're at a networking function on Zoom. What are some no-nos, like two no-nos in that world?
It's not a captured sales call. It's a networking event. I mean, and then I get it. The point is, you're there to share your business, and I think there's a perception that they're putting the ball in your court by giving you all the information that you would need. But I don't want your calendar link, your website link, the link to this video. I don't want you. I don't want to sell. I didn't go into this event looking to be sold to. So that's a big blunder. Is networking events are about just a meet and greet. Let's see if there's some interest here. Let's talk again. It's not a captured sales call. I was actually on a Zoom coast to coast networking event this week, and that was that. So it's fresh in my mind. I'm like, I don't even remember what you did because you sent me everything. So layers. I think of it as like a bucket of paint. If you pour a bucket of paint over someone's head, some of it sticks, but most of it's on the ground. But if you do it in layers, it's better, longer. Yes.
That's a great analogy.
Thank you.
We've kind of come to the end of our time, unfortunately. So I'm just going to ask you, like, one piece of advice you'd like to leave people with when it comes to networking. What would it be if we just had one?
Don't wait 2 to 5 years to start doing this skill. This is a skill that does take time, but it's like adding diet to your exercise. You're going to be farther, faster if you start now instead of trying to play catch up later.
All right. Thank you for that great advice and all your advice around networking. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate that.
All right. That's Wendy Caverly, Professional Connections Coach at Crusaders Networking. If you'd like to get more information about our program, please visit us at www.michiganentrepreneurtv.com. Please join us again in the future when I interview another enterprising entrepreneur. Wishing you the best of business.